Nintendo usually makes startup screens calm and makes you get sucked into the game you're about to play. Nintendo startup screens are special. They usually have nice animations along with some satisfying music or sounds. Nintendo has a lot of consoles with their unique startup screens, and I want to see how they compare to each other. So today, I'm going to rank every Nintendo console startup screen from the NES to the Switch. This list is based off of how satisfying they are, the animations, or the music. Before we get into the ranking, make sure to like the video and subscribe to me now. Let's get started. This is the worst startup screen for any Nintendo console. It's just the Nintendo Switch logo and a black background with no music. Nintendo didn't try. This startup is so bland and this is embarrassing. This is the latest Nintendo console. Virtual Boy. I don't like this one either. It starts out with a reminder to read the instructions and booklet, then transitions to a screen that says Virtual Boy. This startup is so bland. There are no cool animations, and you don't get sucked into the game you're about to play. It's just ugly black and red like the rest of the Virtual Boy. I mean, the music changes depending on the game that you're playing, which is kind of cool, but the music doesn't get you sucked into the game that you're about to play. Nintendo console startups are supposed to have music and sounds that get you sucked into the game. Instead, it plays musical themes of the game that you're about to play. I mean, some of the music is catchy, but it doesn't get the same feeling as other startups. It's just a black screen in the background and red box in the middle. They could have added cool animations or effects. Nintendo put no effort into the Virtual Boy. The Game Boy. I just want you guys to know I love the Game Boy startup screen. Listen, the rest of the startup screens on this list I love very much, but there isn't a lot to it. It's a very old handheld which had a lot of power capabilities, so the startup is simple, but I love it. The Game Boy startup sound is so nice to listen to, and I love seeing the word Nintendo show up. But the Game Boys didn't have a lot. I know it was from the limitations of the hardware though. Overall, I love the Game Boy startup screen with that satisfying sound and seeing that word Nintendo. But again, it is simple and basic. Game Boy Color. The Game Boy Colors is way better than the Game Boys. It shows the words Game Boy actually, and it shows colors going through the word Game Boy, which is a nice detail to add because the console's main gimmick is that it has color. Even the startup screen has a similar sound to the original Game Boys, which I love. But again, it is simple, but it has more than the Game Boys. Nintendo Switch setup startup screen. I love the startup sound with that classic sound the Switch makes when you connect a Joy-Con, plus the animation of the Joy-Con connecting, and that amazing music that plays at the end. Even though the music at the end is amazing, I don't love it as much as other consoles, and this startup only happens when you set up the console. You will never get to see this startup happen unless if you set up a Switch. Game Boy Advance. The Game Boy Advance has colorful letters making the word Game Boy along with that jingle that makes you ready to play a game. It's just perfect, but I don't know how this is so high on the list. I do love all the Nintendo startup screens, well, except for two. The jingle isn't satisfying as others, but the jingle is great. I feel bad for ranking this so high. Wii U. The jingle that plays is so satisfying and gets you sucked into the game that you're about to play. It's so relaxing and calm. I'm a big fan of the Wii U, and I always love to start it up when I see it. 6 and 5, the DS and DSi. They're the same thing, but one has a small eye. I think they're equally great. Multiple squares come out of the two, and that classic jingle is just so good. Not much to say, but that jingle just makes it so epic. Famicom. I love the Famicom startup screen. From the animation to music, it slays. The Nintendo logo floating down the screen with space as the background, along with that amazing jingle. And even at the end, you get to see a Mario and Luigi switching the colors, which is a unique concept. I love this. We don't get to see a lot of startup screens with characters moving around the screen. The Wii. You get to see a warning screen, and then you click A, and then you get to hear that jingle. This jingle is special from the other ones. The jingle perfectly transitions into the menu music, and plus the jingle alone is good, great, gets you in the moment, satisfying, epic, groovy, goated, and slay. This startup screen probably has the best jingle and music on the list. Nintendo 64 disc drive. The N64 startup screen again starts up with an iconic jingle that's great. And like with the Famicom, it has a sprite moving around the screen. It's Mario. And plus the time and date shows, which is unique from other startups. The N64's overall is unique, special, and different. It's perfect. The GameCube. The GameCube startup is the best Nintendo startup. This startup is a masterpiece. Where did I start? The animation of the cube moving around to make one huge one, and the text popping up is just so amazing, and it looks so nice. It just shows that the GameCube graphics and style is way nicer than the N64's. And the sound effects too are so iconic and unique. And there are different versions of the startups too, with different sound effects. Hold Z during it, and you hear rubber squeaky sounds. Hold Z on forward controllers, and you hear some drums or banging sounds. This concept should be used more, different versions if you press different inputs. And the best part about the GameCube startup is that it is memeable. And that's it for today's video. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to me. Have a great day. Bye.